I want you to hold in your thought all of the bikes, cars, buses, trains, planes, and boats that are used for transportation globally. Imagine all of the greenhouse gas emissions that we are releasing into the atmosphere. It's killing our planet. But what if I told you that this sector is not the biggest emitter? In fact, it is not even in the top 3. What if I told you that what we eat and how we produce has a bigger impact, especially animal-derived foods, has a bigger impact on the planet? Did you know that if all of the cattle on the earth got together on like a small tiny island and formed their own nation, they would be the 3rd largest emitter behind China and United States? If that is indeed so, have you ever wondered why is it that a discussion about food systems, about agriculture, does not enter the mainstream when we talk about climate change globally? Why is it that last year in Egypt, during COP27, agriculture and food sectors were again neglected during climate change negotiation? Why is it that only 3% of the public funding for fighting climate change has been dedicated towards food and agriculture? I think that's because food goes very deep with people. It is very personal. It's very cultural. We don't want it to change. We don't want anyone to tell us what to eat, and even worse, what not to eat. But I'm afraid we need to have a discussion about food systems. The time to discuss the impact of our food on the planet is upon us. This is where my journey began. As I wondered about the environmental cost of animal-derived food, and particularly when I learned about dairy, I was shocked to find out about the real cost of dairy, the real cost of producing a liter of milk in terms of land used, water used, and greenhouse gas emissions. I felt compelled to do something about it, and I felt like we needed a better way, and a better way was indeed emerging. Plant-based alternatives to dairy in the form of nut milks like soy milk, bean milks, oat milk, cashew milk have started solving the problem. As you can see, they are also helping us cut down on land use, water use, and greenhouse gas emissions significantly. So what's the problem then? The issue is that the consumers want better. It doesn't seem to be enough. The consumer is not convinced with the current lot of alternatives and is not compelled to keep coming back to it again and again. That's because they want the real thing without sacrificing taste, health, or climate in that order. We need to solve for taste first before we solve for anything else. And the best way to do something, to replace something, is to create it and make it as identical to the real thing as possible. See, we are a dairy-loving nation. It goes deep, cultural. And we are also largest producer and consumer of dairy, like Jinesh has rightly mentioned. And that is why it is so hard to create alternatives for dairy in India. And that is also the reason why it is so important to create these alternatives. So I looked at these alternatives and said that, okay, there needs to be a better way. We need to go a step further. And that's why I started Phyx44, to recreate from scratch, using microbes, dairy that is tasty, healthy, and completely sustainable. What we do at Phyx44 is we use microbes to create tasty, animal-free, antibiotic and hormone-free, very low carbon milk, proteins and milk fats that are identical. In fact, you can't tell the difference apart from the animal-based product. A key part of doing this is being able to teach microbes what we want, which involves researching the bovine genome to understand the components of genome that the animal uses inside its body to create the components that become milk, whether it is milk proteins or milk fats. What we've done is we've taken these and engineered them into tiny microbes. In effect, converted these tiny microbes into tiny cows to make the same proteins and fats that an animal makes inside its body. Picture a microbrewery. What do you see there? What you see in a microbrewery are large steel tanks, and in the tanks are microbes and the food for the microbes. The microbes eat the food that you give them and then make your product. In case of a microbrewery, it's beer. We do the exact same thing. But instead, we use precision-engineered microbes and carefully crafted feedstock that we give them to make dairy proteins and fats that are identical to what you get from the animal. By the way, this technology is not new. This has been in existence for more than 2 decades now. This technology is called precision fermentation. All of you would have used or consumed the product of this technology without even knowing it. All of the rennet, the enzyme that is used for making cheese in the world, is produced using this technology. All of the insulin that diabetics use is produced using this technology. From components within the vaccine to active enzymes that you see animations of when you see an advertisement for a detergent that removes stains from your shirt are made using this technology. We are bringing this technology to dairy. A change in how we produce food, a change in how we produce dairy specifically, is coming. It's a change for good, good for the animals, and good for the planet. It promises a better future. You can see that it helps cut down land use, water use, and greenhouse gas emissions to a very tiny fraction of what it otherwise is. The change is coming to you soon. There are many companies around the world that are working in this. Perfect Day in the US, Remilk in Israel, Imagine Dairy, and then Phyx44 in India. The change is going to come to your store, the store near you pretty soon, but it cannot take off without you. It needs your action and your initiative. Come, let's build a new future for dairy. Thank you.